This happened when I was 19, the summer between my freshman and sophomore year of college. I'd gotten a job as a line cook at this upscale restaurant about 20 minutes from my parents' house. It paid pretty well for a summer job, especially once the servers split some of their tips with the kitchen at the end of the night. The only downside was the schedule. I always worked closing shifts, which meant I didn't get out until midnight or later. Most nights I closed with the same people. There was a server named Jenna, the manager Phil, and usually one or two other kitchen guys. We'd all leave around the same time, so even though the parking lot was in a pretty isolated area, it never felt too sketchy. The restaurant sat at the back of a half-dead strip mall. During the day it was normal enough, but at night the whole area was empty. Just a huge parking lot, a few flickering lights, and whatever cars belonged to the staff. One night in mid-July, we were in the middle of a brutal heat wave. It was over 100 degrees during the day, and even after midnight, it still felt like walking into an oven. The AC in the kitchen had been broken for almost a week, so by the end of my shift, I was soaked in sweat and completely drained. That night, Jenna had called out sick, and one of the kitchen guys left early, so it was just me and Phil closing. We finished around 12:30 a.m. Phil locked the back door, and we walked out into the parking lot together. It was empty except for my car and his truck. We said goodnight, and I walked over to my car, which I'd parked under one of the working street lights near the back of the lot. As I unlocked the door, I noticed a car way at the far end near the abandoned side of the strip mall. I didn't remember seeing it earlier, but it was so far away, and in the dark, I figured it had just been sitting there all day. I got in my car, started it, and turned the AC on full blast. As I pulled out of my spot, my headlights swept across that car. That's when I saw someone standing next to it. A woman. She was standing by the driver's side door, facing my direction. What stood out was what she was wearing. It looked like a long, formal dress. Something you'd wear to a wedding, dark-colored and heels, in an empty parking lot at 12:30 in the morning during a heat wave. I slowed my car and watched her for a second. She didn't wave, didn't try to get my attention, just stood there. I figured maybe her car wouldn't start, so I rolled down my window and called out, "You okay over there? Need help?" Nothing. No reaction at all. I glanced over at Phil's truck. He was still sitting in it, probably checking his phone. I didn't really want to deal with a situation like that by myself. So I drove over to him, got out, and knocked on his window. He rolled it down. "Hey, you see that woman over there?" I said, pointing toward the far end of the lot. "Where?" he asked, squinting. "By that car, the woman in the dress." He looked harder, then shook his head. "I don't see anyone." I turned back. She was still there on the same spot. "Dude, she's right there," I said. Phil got out of his truck and took a few steps forward. He stared in that direction for a long moment. "Mark," he said, "there's nobody there, just a car." I felt this weird chill, even though the air was still hot. I'm looking right at her, black dress, by the driver's side. Phil put a hand on my shoulder. "You've been in that kitchen all day. It's like a sauna back there. You're probably dehydrated. Just go home, drink some water, and get some sleep. I'll follow you out." I didn't feel like arguing. I got back in my car, but I kept my eyes on the woman. She hadn't moved. Phil pulled out first, and I followed. As we drove past the far end of the lot, I slowed down just a bit. She turned her head to watch me. In my headlights, I could see her face. Her skin looked unnaturally pale, almost gray, and she was smiling. Not a normal smile. It looked forced, like someone holding a smile too long. I sped up and followed Phil out to the road. The drive home was about 20 minutes. I kept checking my rearview mirror, expecting to see headlights behind me, but the road stayed empty the whole time. For the next few nights, nothing happened. Same closing shifts, same parking lot, no woman, no car. On the fourth night, Jenna was back. We closed together with Phil and another kitchen guy named Devin. It was still ridiculously hot, even after midnight. We walked out to the lot together and stood around talking for a few minutes like we usually did. Then Jenna went quiet. She was staring past me toward the far end of the lot. "Who the hell is that?" she said. I turned around. The woman was back. Same car, same spot, same black dress. "You see her?" I asked. "Yeah," Jenna said. "What's she doing out here?" Devin looked where we were pointing. "I don't see anybody." But Phil did. I could tell from his face. "What the hell?" he said, quietly. "She wasn't there the other night." "You just couldn't see her," I said. Before we could stop her, Jenna started walking toward the woman. "Hey," she shouted, "we're closed. You can't be out here." "Jenna, don't," I said, but she kept going. She stopped about 10 feet from the woman. "Excuse me, you need to leave." The woman took a single step toward her. Jenna backed up immediately. "Okay, nope, that's creepy." She turned and walked quickly back toward us. The woman followed. Slow, steady steps. "She's coming this way," Jenna said. Phil didn't hesitate. "Everyone in your cars, now." We all got in and locked our doors. The woman kept walking until she was about 20 feet from Phil's truck. Then she stopped. She stood there for a few seconds, just staring at us. Then she raised her arm and pointed. Right at my car, like she'd singled me out for a reason I didn't understand. Phil was already on the phone with the police. He got out of his truck and yelled that they were on their way. The woman lowered her arm, turned around, walked back to the car, and got in. About 10 minutes later, a police cruiser pulled in. 2 officers got out. Phil explained everything. They walked over to the car with their flashlights. They looked inside. One of them opened the door. Then they both looked at each other. They walked back to us. The car's empty, one of them said. That's not possible, Jenna said. We just watched her get in. The officer shook his head. Nobody in there, and this thing's covered in dust. They ran the plates. The car had been reported abandoned 6 months earlier. It belonged to a woman who'd been reported missing after leaving a wedding reception. Her name was Rebecca Halloway. She'd last been seen getting into her car in a black bridesmaid dress. They towed the car the next morning. Later that day, Phil called me. They found her purse in the trunk, he said. Wallet, ID, everything. They said it must have been overlooked before. 3 months later, they found her body in a wooded area about a mile from the restaurant. They couldn't determine the cause of death, but they believed she'd been there since the night she disappeared. After that night in the parking lot, I stopped working closing shifts. A couple weeks later, I was leaving after a day shift. It was still light outside. The lot was mostly empty. As I walked to my car, I noticed something on the pavement near where that abandoned car used to sit.